student, in 10th standard we are going to learn our first lesson, Historiography Development in the West. There are some points given here: tradition of historiography, modern historiography, development of scientific perspective in Europe and historiography, and notable scholars. Historical research, writing and studies are carried out with an objective of understanding the chronology of the past events and their interconnections. Historical research or writing or studies is carried out with the objective, means with an aim of understanding the chronology of past events and their interconnection, means how the events are happened in the past, their chronological order, their sequence and their interconnection. Connections means how they are interconnected with each other. The first event is how interconnected with the second event. This is a continuous process, and this is a continuous process. In the physical and natural sciences, the empirical method, laboratory method and experiments and observation is used to verify the available knowledge. Physical and natural sciences. In physical and natural sciences, some methods are used to verify the available knowledge, and the methods are empirical knowledge. Method means laboratory method, experiments and observation. This method allows formulating laws that remain true irrespective of the time and space. Those laws can be tested and proved repeatedly. This method allows formulating laws. This method means empirical method allows formulating laws that remain true irrespective of the time, means that accurately tell about the time and the space, and about the space too. Those laws can be tested and proved repeatedly, and these laws can be tested and proved repeatedly, means always they are tested and proved. In historical research, it may not be possible to use the method of laboratory experiment and observation. But in historical research, this method means empirical method, means the method of laboratory experiments and observation is not useful. This is so because we were not present in the historical time and space, and the historical events cannot be recreated. And this is not possible because we are not present in the historical time, and in that space we are not present, and the historical events cannot be recreated, and we are not able to recreate that historical moments which have been passed out. Also in history, it is not possible to formulate laws that remain true irrespective of the time and space. Also in history, it is not possible to formulate laws. It is also not possible to formulate laws that remain true and irrespective of the time and space, that are true. To begin, we need an expert who knows the language and script of a historical document in order to read it and understand its meaning. And to begin means to knowing the historical events, to knowing the information of history, we need an expert person who is the expert in the language, who is expert of the script of historical document in order to read it and understand the meaning. To read the historical documents and to understand its meaning, we need an expert person. Also, the experts can examine the authenticity of the document by using criteria such as lettering style, author style of writing, manufacturing date and type of paper, stamps of authority, etc. Also, the experts can examine the authenticity, and the experts can also examine the authenticity of the lettering styles, and then author style of writing, and also the type of author style of authors, manufacturing date, about its manufacturing date, and the paper which is used for that documents, for that information, stamps of authority and the authority of the stamps also. Such a document is further scrutinized by a historian with the help of a relevant historical references, and such documents further scrutinized by some historians with the help of relevant historical references. Now we are going to see this part on the digital board.
Introduction to Historiography, Development in the West. Good morning, students. I'm Professor Dr. Mayurnath Reve, Head of the Department of History at the prestigious Mumbai University. You must be now wondering, what am I doing in your school? Especially in your classroom, aren't you? Well, firstly, I have been told that seated in front of me are not only some of the brightest students of this school, but future torchbearers of our society. I consider myself truly lucky to be in the presence of such young and bright minds. So, on this note, everyone give yourself a well-deserved applause. Now, without further ado, I'll tell you the real purpose of my visit here today. You all have been studying history for quite a while now, from your 4th grade, I assume. Therefore, you are all pretty familiar by now with the definition of history, which in simple terms is the study of the past events that helped shape human civilizations through the passage of time, which was further supplemented by numerous political, social, economic, religious changes whose impact is felt even today. Now, here's the million-dollar question. How do we know about all this? How do we know that all the aforementioned changes helped shape human civilizations, which we are all part of today? The answer, quite simply, is through various sources that have helped us better understand the distant past. These sources, which are classified into material, written, and oral, respectively, shed light on the achievements and failures of mankind since time immemorial. These sources, however, were not discovered all at once. It took innumerable years of excavation, followed by scrupulous, careful, and critical inquiry or examination of these sources in order to ascertain definite and time-tested facts or principles. This continuous, arduous, cumbersome, and at times even frustrating process is defined as historical research. Historical research of written sources, similar to material and oral ones, are undertaken with the sole objective of ascertaining the chronology of past events, along with the manner of transpiring of these events as well. This, just like I had mentioned earlier, is a continuous, arduous, cumbersome, and at times even frustrating process. I'm well aware that the subject of science, especially in grade 10, will introduce each and every one of you here today to a whole new, never-before-seen side of the said discipline, which would be facilitated with your exposure to a whole new and different range of experiments and apparatuses in the school laboratory. The two chief categories of sciences, namely physical and natural sciences, therefore, heavily rely on the empirical or laboratory method of experimentation and observation to verify the available knowledge. This method, in turn, helps establish laws that remain true, irrespective of time and space. Furthermore, these laws have the distinct advantage of being tested and proved correct by repeated experimentation. As far as the historical method of research is concerned, the use of experimentation and observation may not be feasible. This, for obvious reasons, is due to our absence during the occurrence of a historical event or events which transpired at that particular historical time and space, which, in turn, cannot be recreated. Furthermore, in the subject of history, it was not possible to establish laws and principles that would remain true irrespective of time and space. Now, you all must be wondering that in spite of these drawbacks, how are we still able to view history just as it had occurred? In order to fulfill this Herculean feat, the contribution of a few individuals were not only crucial but essential. Through these short video clips, you can see how with the aid of a few intellectual minds, one could virtually travel back in time. Firstly, we required the services of a linguistic expert whose knowledge of the language and script of a particular historical document under study would help ascertain the reason for the occurrence of the corresponding historical event. Furthermore, he could examine the authenticity of the document by making use of various criteria such as lettering style, the concerned author's style of writing, type of paper used, and its manufacturing date, stamps of authority, etc., to further shed light on the cause and effect of the occurrence of that historical event. This document is later scrutinized by a historian with the aid of relevant historical references. So, in a nutshell, a historical method in
Here, some questions are given to you. Choose the correct option. You have to write down these questions in your notebook. The second question is identify the wrong pair.
Start.
Here we see the first two paragraphs of our first lesson, and we will see the remaining part of this lesson in our next period. Thank you.